Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's get straight to it. Money and relationships. It's a big one.
It really is.
For so many couples, managing finances together, it feels less like teamwork and, well, more like walking through a minefield.
Yeah, constantly worried about setting something off.
Exactly. So we're here to try and change that. We want to talk about how to handle money without the arguments, the stress, the, simmering resentment over who spent what.
And it's critical we talk about this. The data out there is pretty stark, actually. Ramsey Solutions found that disagreements about money, they're the #1 reason married couples fight.
Wow. Number one.
#1. And a leading factor in divorce, too. So that tells you this isn't just about, balancing a spreadsheet.
No, it goes much deeper.
It strikes right at the heart of the partnership.
Right. So our deep dive today, our mission really is clear. We want to give you real research-backed strategies, things that actually work. Not just to protect your relationship from all that financial tension, but maybe even use your finances as a tool to grow together.
Using it positively, not just defensively.
Yeah, exactly. We're
Yeah.
cutting through the noise to give you what we think truly works based on the research.
Okay, so let's get to the core of it then. Why? Why does money become such a flashpoint? It seems kind of basic, doesn't it?
It does seem basic. And often when couples are really going at it, arguing about the budget or some purchase,
Yeah.
it's usually not really about the dollars and cents. That's just the trigger,
Ah, okay, so what's underneath then?
Well, often it's deeper stuff like fear. Fear about the future, about security. Or maybe it's just a clash of fundamental habits.
Habits, like saver versus spender.
Totally. Or maybe one person grew up in a family where money was talked about all the time, very openly, and the other, well, it was a taboo subject.
Right, right. Those unspoken expectations we bring in. It's fascinating how deep those financial styles run.
Yeah.
Comes right from childhood,
Mm.
often. Was saving the big priority? Or was it more about, enjoying things now? These early experiences shape our what you might call money mindset.
Money mindset, I like that term. And if you don't talk about that stuff, if you don't try to understand why your partner handles money the way they do,
Their comfort zones, their anxieties.
what they learned growing up, you're almost guaranteed to have conflict. It's like trying to build something together when you have totally different blueprints.
Couldn't agree more. So, okay, that's the why. How do couples actually bridge that gap? How do you get from those, tense arguments to actually working together on finances?
Well, the first step sounds maybe a bit simple, but it's absolutely foundational. Build honest, ongoing communication.
Okay. Talk about it.
Yeah, but consistently. Think of it like tending a garden. It needs regular attention, not just when the weeds are taking over.
That's a good analogy. And
Yeah.
what's really effective, I think, is normalizing these chats, making them routine.
How do you mean?
Well, instead of waiting for a big bill or a, financial emergency to force the conversation.
Which is usually stressful.
Exactly. Instead, you proactively schedule regular, money dates. Maybe weekly, maybe monthly. The key is doing it when you're both calm, relaxed.
Ah, a money date. So it's planned, not reactive.
Precisely. And to keep those dates productive and maybe less emotionally loaded,
Mm-hmm.
using neutral tools can be a game changer.
Like budgeting apps.
Yeah, things like Wine A or Mint or even just a shared spreadsheet, it helps focus the conversation on the facts, the numbers.
Right, so it's less personal, less like, you spent too much, and more like, okay, here's where the money went.
Exactly. It becomes us looking at the numbers instead of me versus you.
That makes sense.
And absolutely crucial to this communication piece, total honesty.
Oh, yeah. Non-negotiable.
No secret accounts, no hidden credit card debt. That kind of stuff just erodes trust so fast.
It really does. Financial transparency isn't just about the numbers. It's about building that feeling of being a team.
Building trust, mutual respect.
Yeah. When you're both fully in the loop, you're actually partners in this, building your financial future together.
Okay. So communication is step 1. Honesty, regularity, using tools. What comes next? You're talking now what?
Now you need a plan, a budget, but one that actually works for both of you. And this is where you have to remember, you're a team, yes, but you're still two individuals.
Right. A budget that feels like a straitjacket for one person. That's just going to breed resentment down the line.
For sure. Which is why I was really interested in this idea of the 3 account system. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite a practical approach, I think. So the 3-count system basically carves up your financial life into 3 zones.
Okay.
First, you have a joint account. This is the pot for all your shared expenses.
Like rent, mortgage.
Exactly. Groceries, utilities, maybe childcare, car payments if it's a shared car, anything that clearly benefits you both.
Got it. Shared stuff. What's number 2?
Number 2 is individual personal accounts, one for each partner.
Ah, okay. So separate money.
Separate money. This is key for maintaining some financial independence. Maybe you like collecting something specific or want to buy gifts without scrutiny or just grab coffee without feeling like you need permission.
Yeah, having your own walking around money without having to justify every penny. I can see how that reduces friction.
Definitely. It respects personal freedom. And then the third account
Third account.
is a shared savings account. This one is specifically for your joint goals, things you both agreed you want to save for.
Like a down payment or a big trip or retirement.
Precisely. Your big picture goals live here.
Okay, that structure makes sense. Joint for shared life, personal for individual freedom, savings for shared future. But how do you decide how much money goes where? Especially into that joint account.
Ah, good question. That's the contribution model. And the absolute key here is that it has to feel fair to both people.
Fair, right. Not necessarily equal.
Not necessarily equal, no. It could be a simple 50-50 split if incomes are similar and that feels right. Or, very commonly, it's proportional based on income.
So if one person earns significantly more, they contribute a larger percentage to the joint pot.
Exactly. The crucial part is having that open conversation and agreeing on what feels equitable and sustainable for your specific situation.
And this whole system helps avoid that feeling of like one person carrying everything or being constantly judged on their spending.
It promotes mutual accountability, but also respects that individual space.
Okay, this sounds really practical. A solid system. So we've got communication dialed in. We've got a system for managing the day-to-day flow. What else? What's the final piece?
I think the final piece is about lifting your eyes up from just managing expenses. It's about actively working towards a shared vision.
So getting excited about the future.
Yes. That's where setting motivating financial goals together comes in. It changes the whole dynamic.
I like that. Moving beyond just, paying the bills to actually planning and dreaming as a couple makes money feel less like a chore.
And more like a tool to build the life you both actually want.
Right. So what kind of goals are we talking about?
Well, it could be anything, really. Saving for that house down payment, like we said, or aggressively paying off debt, planning an amazing anniversary trip, saving for kids' education, maybe even starting a business together.
The key is that it's shared, right? Something you're both invested in.
Absolutely. And the research really backs up the importance of making these goals like official. Don't just talk about them vaguely.
What do you mean by official?
Write them down. Put them somewhere visible. Track your progress regularly. And this is important. Celebrate the milestones along the way.
Celebrating the wins keeps the motivation up.
Definitely. That shared sense of accomplishment is powerful. It really strengthens the bond.
And it actually makes a difference, doesn't it? I saw a stat from Statistics Canada.
Yeah.
They found that couples who actively plan their finances together,
Yeah.
they are 3 times more likely to reach their long-term financial goals. 3 times.
Wow. That's huge. It really shows the power of being aligned, doesn't it?
It really does. When you're both rowing in the same direction financially, well, money stops being a potential battlefield and starts being like a joint project.
Something you're building together.
Yeah.
Actively.
Okay, so let's recap then. If someone's listening and thinking, okay, I want fewer money fights, more teamwork, what are the essential takeaways from our deep dive today?
Well, I'd say number 1, communicate. Often, honestly, calmly. Make it a regular thing.
Right. The money dates.
Number 2, be completely transparent. No financial secrets. Trust is everything.
Number 3.
Use a system that works for both of you, like that 3-account model maybe. Something that handles shared costs fairly, but also gives you each some personal financial space.
Respecting the individual within the team.
Exactly. And finally, number 4, don't just manage money, use it to build something exciting. Set shared, motivating goals and actively work towards them together.
It really sounds like it boils down to approaching finances as a true team effort, shifting that mindset.
That's it. When you do that, money can become a source of strength in the relationship, believe it or not, instead of, a constant point of division.
Money itself is neutral. It's how we handle it.
Precisely. It's our choices, individually and as a couple, that give it its power, for good or bad.
Which leads us to maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Thinking about those shared dreams. What's one big exciting thing you and your partner could start mapping out financially, maybe even today?
Yeah. Taking that first small step toward joint planning, that could genuinely be the key to a much more secure and honestly more harmonious future together.